In my last video, I mentioned the Hero's Journey server, THJ. It's like a single-player version of EverQuest. You can log on and immediately play. Exping, questing, raiding, whatever you want to do. These are some tips and tricks for getting started on THJ, Hero's Journey. I made a lot of mistakes on my first character, and these tips are intended to help you avoid those mistakes. Tip 1. Getting started. There'll be timestamps so you can skip around this part if you already know, but let's say you followed the instructions on their Discord server, you've downloaded the game and logged in. Now you need to create a character. So go ahead, create your character and enter the world. You'll be inundated with a bunch of pop-ups. Read them or don't, close them, doesn't matter. The first thing you want to do is press V on your keyboard. V will bring up the alternate advancement window. Under the general tab of this window, you'll see an ability called Bazaar and Back. Select it and click the hot button key on the right side of the window. And you want to put that new hot button onto your hotbar. This button will instantly teleport you to the hub spot of the server. And if you click it again, it'll send you back to wherever you were before. Next, this is a good point to fix your UI windows to set them up how you want to, if you know how to, or copy your UI from another character you've made. I skipped showing that part. And if you press the button to open up your inventory, I think it's I by default, you'll notice a book. And if you right click it, it tells you to turn in the book to some creature in the bazaar. So that's what we're going to do next. So now click the Bazaar and Back button. It'll teleport you to some random location within the bazaar zone, and you want to make your way to this area in the southwest portion of the zone. If you press M, it'll bring up your map and you can go here. And in this area, you'll see this ghosty figure. He's kind of hard to see by default. So if you type in /say TIM, I think it means toggle improve models, but Tim, #Tim. This is a toggle to change the NPC models from the newer ones back to the original models. It makes the ghosty guy much easier to see. #Tim is tip number 2. Hand in that book to the ghosty guy and he'll give you a bag, a weapon, and something to put on your chest slot. If you press Alt and Q at the same time on your keyboard, it will open up the quest window. And next it says we need to select our other 2 classes. This server, you play as 3 classes all at once, but we only locked in 1 class when we created the character. You now want to run to the north part of the bazaar. These circled areas have guild masters you need to talk to. I'm going to be doing the infamous pet lover build. There's very dirty names for this build, but it's 3 pet classes all at once. You sit in your chair while your pets do all the work. Easy mode. I press H to hail the Necromancer Guildmaster. I go through the dialogue and make Necromancer my second class, and I find the Beast Lord Guildmaster, hail him to make that my third class. One thing to know is that you can buy all the spells you need from level 1 to 50 from vendors sitting right next to the guild masters. If you have the money, that is. But that's where you go buy your stuff. After you get all 3 classes, head back to the ghosty guy in the southwest and hail him. It'll update your quest window. You'll get some weapons for those other classes, get some more chest gear, and pet bags if your class uses pets. The pet bags, you can put really good weapons in them, and your pets will always use them when you summon them. Last thing before we move on, if you have money or once you get money, you'll want to buy bags. In the center building of the bazaar is a vendor that sells bags for your inventory slots and really huge bags for all your bank slots. There's also a components vendor in the same area, just right behind where I'm at right now, that sells the reagents you need to summon pets. So bone chips for necro and SK pets, malachite for mage pets. Let's go get some EXP now. So quest tells us we need to get to level 5. Again, in that center building is an NPC called Tyrael, the translocator. Hail him with H and click on Attune your map. Pick a continent and a zone. By default, you'll be able to go to any starter city in the game, and then once the map is attuned, click on it to teleport. Run out to the newbie yards and kill stuffs. Once you hit level 5, the quest will complete. You'll get 10 plat that you can use to buy spells or bags with, and you'll get a ring. Take that ring and put it in the power source slot of your inventory. This is tip number 3. This was a huge mistake I made, and one you don't want to make either. Do this as soon as you start killing any mobs. A lot of the gear and weapons on this server come in 3 flavors, 3 tiers. You have a weak base version, a stronger enchanted version, and the strongest legendary version. Each step up is a massive increase in power. So your goal on this server is to get all legendary tier weapons and armor. So how do you? So mobs and raid bosses will randomly drop stuff from any of these 3 tiers, but that's random. So how do you guarantee getting legendary gear and weapons? Take any base level or enchanted piece of gear, put it into your power source slot, and as you kill mobs for EXP, it will slowly power up that piece of gear. Eventually the gear will level up, and when it gets to legendary, it'll pop out, and you'll have it. You should always be leveling up a piece of gear in your power source slot. So what I like to do, I'll use a website like raidloot.com. I'll look up what the best in slot stuff is. Then I'll type /bazaar in the game to bring up the seller window. I'll search for that item from raidloot.com. I'll look for people selling that gear for cheap. You see this robe of secrets is in the Bazaar Shard 9. So how do I get to Bazaar Shard 9? How do you get to a different shard of the Bazaar? Tip number 4. Type in /say #zone shard. This is a macro I made for it. You'll be given text to click where you can swap between the different Bazaar shards. So I went to Bazaar Shard 9, clicked Find Trader, pressed M to open up the map, and I followed the line all the way to the seller. Bought the almost best in slot chest item for 10 plat here. Real cheap. But this is the base version though. I will want to power it up for huge stat upgrades. Anyways, you can buy cheap weapons and armor from other players in the Bazaar, power it up yourself to legendary, and take something that you bought for, say, 10 plat and turn it into something worth 10,000 plat. Powering up gear is something you need to do the moment you start getting any EXP. I didn't know to do this until I was well into max level, and I missed out on maybe 5 to 10 pieces of legendary gear because I started too late. There is one thing to know about legendary gear, and that is once you equip it, it's no longer tradable. Everything is tradable on this server for the most part, except for legendary gear that's been equipped. And this includes epic weapons. Epic weapons are tradable on this server until you equip them. Now let's go over some miscellaneous things you need to know about this server. Tip 5. What are EOM? Echoes of Memory. They are an alternative currency exclusive to this server. You can trade them to other players for platinum. You can use it to buy huge bags for your inventory. You can buy illusion clickies. You can use them to extend server-wide buffs like bonus experience, run speed, regen. You can use them to swap out one of your 3 classes once a week. But the very first thing you should purchase with EOM Echo of Memories is this. You can hail the teleport NPC, the translocator, and exchange 5 EOM to permanently unlock the ability to teleport directly to any instant zone you spun up or got invited into. This also affects every character on your account too. 5 EOM permanently unlocks this ability for every character on your account. Why does this matter? This is nice for, say, you spin up a private instance of Unrest or Lower Guk to EXP in. You click the Bazaar and back button to sell real quick when your bags get full. And then you hail the teleport guy to instantly go back to your dungeon. In the footage I'm showing here, it's a pretty long run to get to Dragon Necropolis. Say I head back to the Bazaar to sell, and then I can go back to the translocator guy to tell him I want to go to an expedition, click on the map, and I'm right back. So how do you get EOM? Several ways. EOM can randomly drop off of mobs that con even to you or higher level than you. It'll just automatically loot any of them if they drop. You can buy them with platinum from other players selling them. You can help code for the server, or you can donate to the operations of the server. You get something like 1 EOM for every $1. So $5 gets you the ability to teleport to your instance dungeons permanently. Tip 6, unlocking expansions. So when you first start playing, you only have access to vanilla EQ zones. Asterisk. You will not be able to go to Kunark, Velius, Luckland, and any other later zones except for Asterisk, the starter areas. You can go to Field of Bone or Charval if you wanted to use those starter zones, but if you try to zone anywhere else in those expansions, you'll be kicked out. So how do you unlock other expansions? The easiest way, raid bosses. Killing Vox and Nagafin gets you access to Kunark and Legacy of Yakesha zones. Killing Sev, Talendor, Gornair, and Trakedon gets you to Velia zones, and so on. I'll leave a link to what bosses you got to kill to unlock expansions. They have a website that tells you what to do. When these bosses die, a ghosty NPC will spawn on the body. You hail that NPC, it'll give you some flavor text, and that'll give you a character flag. Once all the required bosses have been beaten, you go to the Bazaar and hail the progression NPC right in the center area to unlock the next expansion. And it will give access to every character on your account. So while your first character had to level using classic zones, you don't have to on any new characters you create. Tip 7, how fast travel works. By default, you can go to any starter city using the teleport NPC. You can also teleport directly to an instance dungeon if you bought that feature with those 5 EOM. But what about other locations? In various zones across the world, you'll find these blue rings on the ground, and once you run near them, you'll get some flavor text saying that the place has become familiar. That's how you know you unlock that location for fast travel. There's so many places to go. I'll leave another link for where all the fast travel unlocks are. The very first time you have to run there yourself. The next times you just talk to the teleport NPC and it'll take you there. There's also a way to save yourself all that running. If you have a buddy that has all these teleport locations unlocked, they can take you there and then that'll unlock it for you. Tip 8. Let's talk about getting experience. So you can level anywhere in this server. It'll be fast no matter where you choose, but if you want to maximize how fast you level up or get AA points, certain zones will be better for that. They will have higher experience rates. Generally, the zones in the most recently unlocked expansion will have the best EXP rates. So in Velius, it used to be Dragon Necropolis. That was the place everyone went to go get EXP. Right now, we're doing Luckland, and Vexthal has the highest EXP rate. Again, I'll leave a link to those zone EXP modifiers so you can see it yourself. Now, a lot of the spice of this game comes from abilities and passives that you unlock with AA points, like Slay Undead for Paladin that instantly annihilates undead targets, Headshot, Assassinate, Decapitate for Ranger, Rogue, Berserker, respectively, that also instantly melt targets. So, alternate advancement points. As for AA experience, there are penalties and modifiers you need to know about. You can choose to earn AA experience at level 1, but it'll be a lot slower to grind them out then, as opposed to being higher level. There's an AA EXP penalty that gets weaker and weaker as you get closer to level 50. And then it turns neutral, and the AA EXP rate boosts above level 50. So a lot of people, what they do is they'll try to get to level 56 or just go max level 60 and then start AA grinding in mass. Another thing to know about is the veterancy bonus. So say you've gotten 1,000 AA points on your main character. Now you want to make a new character, an alternate character, and get them AA too. It'll be a lot faster this time around. An AA point that may take 20 to 30 kills to earn on your main character now may only take 1 to 3 kills on your new alt. Your alt will earn AA points much quicker up until they hit a cap. The cap being that 1,000 AA your main was at, for example. It's a bit more complicated than that, but that's the simplest way to understand how veterancy bonus works. You earn AA a lot faster on alts if your main has a bunch of AA. That's all you need to know about it. Tip 9. Let's talk about how instancing works. Most places can be spun up as a private zone that you can have completely to yourself or even invite others if you want to. Say spawning your own private zone of Unrest to EXP in, or your own version of Permafrost to kill Lady Vox in. So to start your own private instance, you hail an NPC somewhere in the zone called an Echo of the Past. It's the same thing as an Agent of Change and AOC that you see on official servers. This NPC is usually near the entrance to the zone or near a zone line. You hail the Echo of the Past NPC and it'll give you 2 options to click: a respawning zone and a non-respawning zone. Non-respawning is the one you choose if you want to kill a raid boss. That's all you need to know. Respawning is the one you choose if you want to EXP grind there. And to be clear about one thing, your normal named bosses in the zone, they can spawn in a respawning instance. You just won't have any raid bosses spawn there. Now, say you kill a mob in a respawning instance, most of them will repop in 10 minutes. Tip 10, customize how you look. This server gives you the option to take any piece of gear or weapon and turn it into a custom appearance item that you can equip. Legacy and the Luckland era models works for both. So how do you do it? You find this NPC in the bazaar called the Purveyor of Glamour. Her subtitle says she only does weapons, but this also works for armor too. Trade her the weapon or piece of armor and 5,000 platinum, and she will hand you back the appearance item. Then you open up the piece of gear you have equipped, slot the appearance item into it, and done. I begged Daybreak Games to put this feature in the game for legacy models, but they said it couldn't be done. Somehow 2 random devs could figure it out on their custom server though. Like it was no problem at all. Embarrassing. Anyways, I love this feature because it lets you have a coordinated look, even if your best in slot gear is wildly mismatching. And I especially love this because these Velius armor textures I'm using here are abandoned really quickly in the game. Like this custom helm graphic only exists for one expansion. After you replace this gear, it'll never look like this again. But not on the Hero's Journey server. You can look however you want. And I think THJ even created custom robe graphics for races that had no robe compatibility. THJ has some real love for people using the legacy models, the old models. And last one, tip 11, class builds. So THJ has you pick 3 classes to play all at once, but there's something you should know about them. So while there are 560 possible combinations to play, they mostly boil down to 2 flavors. Ones that are good for mass EXP grinding, taking out swarms of mobs, and ones that are good for single raid bosses. In the Discord is a whole section of class theory crafting where people go into the details of these different combos, so you can do a little research on these combos yourself. You can also check out Broken Stoic or Variety Void. They stream on Twitch and they also make YouTube videos. Especially Broken Stoic, he has a bunch of class guides for THJ. And he has a great tip for looting mobs quickly too. This is the macro I copied from him. But that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck to you if you try out this amazing server. Single player EverQuest 2025. Amazing.